Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaskar. You have stepped into a course that is going to change the way that you look at data. Not just how you analyze it, but also how you communicate it. My name is Nivid Desai. I serve as the Program Executive at Writing Studio IIT Gandhinagar. Welcome to Writing for Data Science. This course is at the intersection of analysis and communication. As all of us know, data analysis is not just about coding and models. It is about solving real-world problems. And that is exactly why every single thought that goes into solving those problems needs to be communicated. And not just to one audience, across multiple stakeholders. That is where this course comes in. This course prepares you with the foundations of writing, especially curated for data science. We will discuss audience analysis, critical thinking, logical reasoning, as well as storytelling that is native to data science. So join me on a journey at the intersection of numbers and narratives. I'll see you in class. Namaste, hello and welcome to Writing for Data Science. My name is Nivid Desai and we are on a journey to explore the interesting intersections between numbers and narratives. So far, we have established a thorough foundation to introduce the element of writing as a core competency within data science. From today onwards, we are going to start a new subject, audience analysis. From here on, this entire module is going to be a deep dive into why audience analysis is necessary, how to do it, and what to actually do with that knowledge. So, we will establish the principles, the approaches, the strategies, and the application as well. Throughout this module, I am going to bring a number of examples, a number of case studies to help us understand what audience analysis means in action. So, I would urge all of you to join me on this journey and make sure that we keep up with all these different examples portraying audience analysis as a potential component of writing for data science. For today's lecture, let's begin with the foundations. So, what does audience analysis actually do? Audience analysis ensures that messages are clear, relevant, and impactful for the intended recipients. I would like all of you to notice the different components that are in this sentence. Messages being clear, relevant, and impactful, but the last part is the most important. Intended recipients. In data science communication, we broadly have an idea who is going to read our work. So, we can augment our work to meet their needs and their requirements. Then, knowing audience analysis allows professionals to tailor their findings appropriately. You would know that as data analysts, as data scientists, or anybody working with analyzing data, findings can be rich with insights, but also sometimes quite dense, as multiple things pool in to make the data potential. But when it comes to designing communication, when it comes to understanding our audience, it helps us filter through all that density and arrive at the clear message that our audience really requires. So that in the end, we can all ensure that our insights are effectively communicated to stakeholders with varying levels of expertise. As we have established in our previous module, not all levels of audiences will have the same levels of technical knowledge. So, how do we make our communication dynamic to suit their requirements? That is where audience analysis helps us. Those are the foundations on which this skill, this intuition is built. Let us now understand in depth what do we mean when we use the term audience analysis. Audience analysis is the process of identifying and understanding the needs, expectations, background, and technical proficiency of the people who will receive a communication. Once again, I would like to draw your attention to the components mentioned in this sentence: needs, expectations, background, and technical knowledge. We will talk about all of this in detail as the module progresses. This process allows the communicator, us, to tailor the message in a way that maximizes comprehension and engagement. So, not only does your audience understand your message, but is also continuous in engaging their attention with your message. Audience analysis helps us ensure that the comprehension and the engagement of our message is as much as it can possibly be. It also considers factors such as demographics, knowledge level, interests and concerns, and communication preferences. Let's double click on all of this in some detail. Demographics primarily concerns itself with who the audience is in terms of role, education, and professional background. All of these variables will make up the demographics of your audience. Then, knowledge level: how much the audience already knows about the subject. What is their pre existing pool of information on which you can build your communication? How much comprehension can you assume? How much comprehension can you approximate? Next, the interests and concerns. What aspects of the data or message are most relevant to them? What are they looking for? Why are they reading your message? Why are they engaging with your communication? And then the how, the communication preferences. This part concerns most with the best formats, structures, and styles for delivering the information effectively. In the context of data science, audience analysis helps determine whether to present information through technical reports, executive summaries, visual dashboards, or narrative storytelling. We'll touch upon all of these in detail as the module progresses. Now that we have understood what do we mean by audience analysis, let's dive deep into how to actually do it. How is audience analysis conducted? The process of audience analysis involves three primary steps: identifying the audience, assessing audience needs and expectations, and tailoring the message. Let's dive deep into all of them one by one. Number one, identifying the audience. This stage helps us determine who will be receiving the message, whether it is executives, data scientists, policymakers, or the general public. This step is essential for us to end up designing our communication based on our approximation of who's going to read it. Here's a task for you: create a list of technical and non technical audiences according to your understanding. We are going to do this short exercise so that we develop an intuition to understand which parts of our audiences will lead with technical language and which parts of our audiences will have non technical concerns and preferences. Of course, we are going to learn all of this in detail as the module progresses. At present, I want us to be driven by our intuition. Take some time and create a list of what do you understand as technical and non-technical. I hope that was a stimulating exercise for all of us. Let's look at some possible outcomes. If you classify audiences as technical, they may include engineers and data analysts, people who deal with technical work and speak technical languages. And if you are classifying them as non technical, they would be marketing teams, business leaders, executives, so on and so forth. These are people who have use of the technical insights but may use them for their respective departments, for their respective purposes. They do not speak the technical language and may not have the necessary domain knowledge to understand the jargon of the technical language. Step 2, assessing the audience's needs and expectations. Consider the audience's background knowledge to avoid under explaining or overloading them with unnecessary details. This is an iterative process. This is something which we build over time. This is something that helps us connect with our audience at an empathetic level. So here's a question for you, just to start trying to test the waters of what this skill actually holds. What would an executive care about? And what would a data scientist care about? Think about it. What would an executive care about? And what would a data scientist care about? I'll come back to you with some further comments. This exercise helps us identify the primary concerns of both an executive and a data scientist. For example, an executive may care about business impact more than algorithmic details, while a data scientist may want to understand model performance metrics rather than the business decisions that it drives. Both of them are dealing with similar types of systems, but for different purposes, for different areas of attention. So, when we are communicating with them, it helps us to estimate what are they looking for and accordingly optimize our messages. Lastly, tailoring the message. This is where we adapt the depth, the style, and the format of the communication based on the audience's preferences. We choose appropriate visuals, we choose the appropriate terminology and explanations that resonate with the audience's level of expertise. This will be best understood if you actually do it. Here's a task. Imagine what style of communication would be suitable for the technical and non technical audiences that you listed in the previous exercise. Think about it. What would be best suited for a technical audience and for a non technical audience? I've given you some examples of what different formats and styles of communication we practice. Try to come up with a list just by your intuition. We'll learn about them in detail as the module progresses. I hope that was a fruitful exercise for you. Keep those notes with yourselves. As the module progresses, we will come back to them and try to refine our understanding so that we can compare how far we have come in how much depth we have gained. Now, let's arrive at the key question. Why? Why to even do it? Why is audience analysis even important? Let me give you some reasons. Let me give you some foundations. Number one, audience analysis enhances clarity and comprehension. When a message aligns with an audience's knowledge level, it reduces confusion and increases retention. Here's a little task for you to understand this a little better. Note what details a technical audience might prefer compared to a non technical audience. Once again, I would ask you to go with your intuition. There's no pressure of getting the right answer. Presently, we are only trying to test the waters of how much we can approximate from our present base of knowledge. For example, a technical audience might appreciate detailed regression analysis because that is the area of expertise that they are most concerned with. Whereas a non technical audience benefits from high level trend summaries because it helps them make decisions, it helps them build campaigns and frame policy. Let's look at another reason why audience analysis would be important. Of course, it increases engagement and relevance. People are more likely to pay attention and act on information that is directly relevant to them. For example, a CFO, a chief financial officer, might engage more with the financial projections than with a breakdown of machine learning algorithms. Why? Because it is relevant to him. That is something that they are most concerned with according to their job role. Moving on, audience analysis also helps us improve decision making. When insights are tailored to decision makers in a format that they understand, they are more likely to make informed, data driven decisions. Here's a little task for you. Imagine that you are a CEO. What kind of communication would help you make better decisions? Think about it. Put yourself in the shoes of somebody who is a serious decision maker and think of what kind of communication would help you. For example, a CEO receiving a visual dashboard summarizing the customer trends may be able to act faster than if they were given raw data tables. You can't expect that a CEO is going to process data by themselves. So, an overview of trends analysis will help them make decisions much more quicker. Let's look at another reason why audience analysis really works. It prevents miscommunication and errors. Avoiding jargon when speaking to a non technical audience reduces any kind of misunderstanding. For example, instead of saying our model has high AUC ROC, a data scientist might say our model correctly predicts customer behavior 85% of the time. That is something which a non technical audience would understand and appreciate because it quantifies the results adequately for them and it helps them understand the efficiency of the model being used. In conclusion, audience analysis allows data professionals to communicate effectively, ensuring that insights are understood and actionable. It systematically identifies the audience, assesses their needs, and tailors the messages accordingly. Understanding the audience's perspective is key to successful data driven decision making because, in the end, it is a two-way street. We, the encoder of the communication, rely on the decoder of communication to create an augmented design of the said communication. In the next lecture, we will dive deeper into some more strategies and approaches for audience analysis. Until then, stay curious, keep learning. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaskar.